Hey everyone, it's Sky, and when I saw that we were going to be having this incredible super blue blood moon on January 31st, I knew that I had to come on and make a quick video about some of the things coming in. I've done a bit of research on this, and all of the details will be in the description box below of the specific sort of intricate things coming up with this moon, but it kind of makes sense. It kind of makes sense because the energies are so crazy right now, and everyone is a little bit scattered and a little bit all over the place, I have to say. Who I've worked with, who other people I know who have worked with, even things that don't have to do with these esoteric matters. Everyone has just been a little bit crazy and hard to work with in a way, and that is because we're working with a very damaged sense of emotional vulnerability and a very damaged sense of collective emotional processes. So, yeah, we have this super blue blood moon coming in for the first time in 150 years. So, this is a very old, ancient feeling energy that I almost want to feel like it happened more regularly in like more archaic times, but now it doesn't happen so regularly. So we're maybe having new activations of old ancient experiences and systems coming in that are really clashing with some of our more modern, contemporary patterns, ideals, and habits. And it's kind of like, I want to say it's like an instinctual human energy that is coming into all of us that is being processed through our, again, contemporary lens. So this is causing a lot of people to feel very unstable, to feel very explosive, and just a bit like a lunatic type of energy. So, as a lot of y'all saw, I did like a Supermoon in Cancer video, which happened on like January the 3rd. That's in the top right-hand corner right now. You can get some more information on that from that video. This makes this a lot more potent because we're already in an extreme moon cycle. We're going from this supermoon in Cancer in the beginning of January to July 13th with a solar eclipse happening to end that cycle again when it's new moon in Cancer. So we're already in a 6-month cycle of activated lunar energy, and to add in this 150-year phenomenon on top of it, it's really going to, I think, help and hinder a lot, depending on your place spiritually, depending on your coping ability. And why do I say coping ability? Because, as a lot of you know who are astrologically aware, the moon in astrology deals with our emotions. It deals with our mother as well, or like more nurturing parental energy. It's our coping mechanism. It deals with hormones. It deals with our weight. It deals with anything about our physical body which fluctuates and changes. For this reason, it's also emotions because they tend to fluctuate and change so much because the moon is always changing. It has a cycle, so anything which is cyclic or anything which fluctuates a lot in your life will be very activated and even become like a really visceral and really paramount. Starting on, I would say about January 28th before this becomes like really in, and last until about February 4th, I think is going to be the period of catalysion for this. I'm kind of coining that word. It's my new word, catalysion, like catalyzing energy is going to happen, I think, during that period of time. But again, this is going to last, the energies of that will last until, I would say, August, and play out in a larger scale of your life until then. And what do we make of it? So much depends on you yourself and what your individual thinks. Because again, the moon is a very individual energy. It rules Cancer, which is the 4th house, which is the root of our being, the microcosmic energy. And so it's hard to maybe make a collective video about it. But as I said, and I don't get too specific with these because I don't believe in self-fulfilling prophecies, but I will give you some things which channeled through me, which I wrote down and outlined out of general collective ideas of the way that this could come through, then try to put your own personal experience into this lens. So first of all, we have to sort of think about, like, this is an eclipse. Like, we have, I think, 3 or 4 things going on here. We have the fact that this is a supermoon, the fact that it's a lunar eclipse, the fact that it's a blood moon, and the fact that it's a blue moon, all combined together. So let's sort of think about each one of those individually and some of the esoteric supernatural concepts behind them. So a lunar eclipse, I'll start there. With lunar eclipses in general, especially if it's hitting something in your chart, we usually look at emotionally something being given and something being taken away. It's the same concept as a solar eclipse, except it's a bit more subtle with the moon. Like a solar eclipse, you can usually see like something physical in your life being introduced in, as well as something being output, being given away during solar eclipse. And this is the same type of principle with lunar eclipse. It just more happens at the emotional level. So you could see that you're finally able to give yourself closure about a difficult breakup. You could see that no longer are you having to, sleep for 15 hours just to cope with not being happy in your life. You can see that finally, you don't have to any longer have like a terrible like a crying experience over something which no longer gives you anything in return. So the positive side of this is that it's really going to, I think, help us get over some of the difficult experiences that we've gone through. But it's not so easy. It's not so effortless. If this were just a normal lunar eclipse, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. It'd be a bit more of a benefic type of energy. But especially putting a blood moon emphasis onto this makes this process of emotional cleansing and emotional, letting go, reintroduction type of energy a bit more visceral, as I was saying, and a bit more like Marsy. A blood moon kind of introduces a Mars type of energy as well as kind of a Uranus type of energy. So there can be like a sudden catalyzing, jolting experience that happens that suddenly makes it click, which should ultimately be a good thing. But I would really spend some time leading up to this moon between now, mid-January and the end of January, really working on what kind of, crazy crisis type of experiences do I have to let this click? Can I click some of these emotional experiences that I'm going through on my own? Or do I really need the universe to come in and introduce like a really overwhelming type of situation to make it happen anyway? I think that the blessing of this moon is that you can really be aware. Again, this is the thing about a blue moon. Like blue moons cause awareness. It's a very lucky, benefic type of energy. During a blue moon, you can suddenly see people's true intentions. You can also suddenly see like the better parts of your emotional workup. And it's sort of the opposite of that with the blood moon. It's like, you see where things have gone wrong, you see where you've gone wrong, you see where you've been flawed, where others have been flawed, and it's usually through a difficult situation. Whereas, as I was saying with the blue moon, it's like through a nice situation, you see the good things, and it's easier to transition. So we have both. And so it can really go either way, and it sort of neutralizes it in a way, it's kind of like a positive, negative type of thing coming together. So a lot of people I just see being like very overstimulated and saturated with emotional experiences. I see like a lot of like one day wonderful magnanimous things happen, and the next day it all crumbles down, and the next day after that you're alone, and then it's like not for everybody, of course, and I'm being collective here, but it's really paramount and important for us to like work on ourselves, to do a little bit of shadow work as well as light work, both of them, before this moon comes through, and think like, what are we doing? Because I think a lot of us, and myself included, have not made mistakes. I don't want to call them mistakes, but there's been a desperation, and also like it's hard to explain. For example, maybe you've like reached out to your ex, or maybe you've tried to peace the waters, like make peace of the treacherous energies that are coming in. And at the same time, it's like there's no response, and it's like, well, what have I done? What have I really? Have they seen it? Have they been upset by it? Have they just? It's like, what is it? It's like question marks. Why? Why is it this way? And you can really start to gain a new type of experience with the past too, a new type of relationship with the past. Again, the moon is the past. It's the fourth house. It's Cancer. Again, I had a lot of information on that in my Supermoon in Cancer video. And we're coming through that cycle, right? It's going to be like a new moon in Capricorn. So we're still on the Cancer Capricorn axis. So you're going to probably start waking up and realizing like flashbacks, whoa, Mars in Scorpio, Jupiter in Scorpio, along with this sudden flashbacks to the past that are really potent and make you realize things. And you might like want to sit down and kind of spontaneously write up an email to people from your past and be like, this, that, send. And it's like you get on the other side of it with like no response, and you're like, what have I done? And it's hard because people's hearts a lot of the time are in the right place with this lunar energy, but people's emotional reactions and coping mechanisms can never quite match up, is the crisis of this energy. People's hearts are in the right places. That's just something that came through me through like the channeling. So remember this. Regardless of whether you're not responded to, regardless of whether you feel really betrayed by somebody, regardless of whether you feel like you've done a risk and you're not going to get any reward for it, regardless of whether you feel like your past is completely like ruining your future, realize that people's hearts are in the right place and everyone's trying to do what they can. But people's minds, and especially if you're feeling like very activated by this energy, really check in with your guides. Like, are we activated by this? Is this in my chart? You know, have a session with me. Let me see if it's in your chart, whatever. And really think like, you know, is this the really right time for me to let my mind and my emotional spectrum distort what my heart wants it to say? Because I think a lot of people have, like, and I feel like personally, I've been able to speak what my heart said, but I just wish that I could have like done it more lovingly too. Like, I think a lot of people are regretting the harshness of their words, or it's not like a dramatic thing, but it's like a seriousness, and there's a bloodiness to the words and a severity. It's a gaunt type of energy connected to people's words and communication patterns that are really being emphasized with this, that make people wish that they would have just said, I love you, or make people in hindsight wish, my God, why did I say that? Why did I say that way to those people? Why couldn't I have just been loving? And then people, you know, get their emails open and start writing and trying to make it right, and they send it and they're like, wow, that was just kind of a little bit much too. And it's like people start to spin out of control and start to lose their minds a little bit. Because another thing with this super blue blood moon is people can go off the deep end. This is so much mental, emotional, and heart activation. And again, there's such a disharmony that I'm feeling intuitively at the collective between the heart and the ability to communicate, the ability to feel, that people can wake up January 31st to completely just have a nervous breakdown. So again, this is why we need to do a little bit of work building up. And I know like a lot of my viewership, like you guys have already had the spiritual journey, you've dealt with these types of energies, you don't need to cope in that type of way anymore. And I feel proud enough to say that I think I'm ready for it. I think that I'm ready for this energy, but you have to be careful of those around you and those who are not. And obviously there are going to be people on both sides of it who are watching the video, I'm sure. But I'm going to kind of try to speak on both sides. Like, for example, I'll start with the people who are feeling like, okay, you know, like maybe we're not perfect, but we're like, I'm going to get through this time. It's okay. So for us, it's like fulfilling promises to ourselves is important. Not making plans that we can't really live up to. Not being overwhelming with our future generations and projections of who we want to be. And also not feeling like we have to sacrifice too much is important. Because I think with Blood Moon, again, it's a very sacrificial type of energy. It makes me think of like ancient Mayan civilization doing like blood sacrifices to their gods and stuff is sort of an image that pops up. And I feel that a lot of people are listening have past life energy with that type of culture. So it can kind of activate memories from that. So you could really wake up on like at the end of January and think, okay, I've got to sacrifice something. I'm not saying that you guys are going to like become murderers, but I definitely can predict that probably a lot of murderers or serial killer type of energy will emerge. So it's good to be in safe places, you know, be in your house, be in places that you know well. Not a good time to be on the bad side of town, or in places that you're not very aware, and people that you don't really know what the good or places that you don't really know where the good and bad side of town is. Kind of just like being spontaneous and everywhere, you know, at the gas station at 4:30 in the morning, in the middle of nowhere, walking about, looking at the stars at 4:30 in the morning. Watch out for things like this, just because it's a very victimizing, sacrificial type of energy. I think like there could be a lot of like cults to emerge and like religious ceremonies, which are really damaging, that could go down with this moon. And for me personally, I'm just going to try to be like holed up like indoors with like softness around. Watch out for like knives and sharp objects. Again, we have Mars and Jupiter in Scorpio, along with this blood moon here in Capricorn, and Uranus having just gone direct, I believe it is, in Aries. So we've got a lot of like sharp, bloody type of energy. So try to not cut your finger off with the knife, or I don't know, fall down the stairs. It is an accident indication. I will definitely say that this period of time for everybody, but especially those of you who have anything in like Capricorn, Cancer, Aries, or Libra at these degrees, you need to kind of be in a soft, fuzzy place if you can. Don't worry too much about it if you're already committed to something, and if you're like knowing that you're not going to be able to be there, like try to make your mind and your psyche soft and warm for yourself. It doesn't have to be like, because that's what generates it. You know, it's these stabbing, very visceral, very all or nothing polarized thoughts that are generating these accidents. And that's how energy kind of works, especially with accident placements, you know, like a Pluto Mars or a Uranus Mars or a blood moon type of energy. It's not that those things come in and just cause people to like accidentally cut off their fingers. It's the energetic experience that happened within the individual, like really strong discomfort, fear, betrayal, reactions, emotional instability, that generate accidents and generate hard experiences. So, and for the people who are feeling like a little bit crazy during this time, or who have just had a breakup or a huge change and, you know, feeling a little bit unstable, you know, the most important thing is to like learn the lesson, preferably before this time, you know, like, okay, here's the past. I'm finally realizing it. Hindsight is finally here. I think it would be really great to not be able to worry like, okay, how am I going to be in the future? Is this person going to come back to me? Is this situation going to reintegrate itself? Rather, let's learn the lesson and the moral from what happened and then just kind of coast. It's great to just kind of coast with this energy and not be really, really worried about, you know, are they going to respond to me? Are they going to get together with me for coffee and talk about it with me? And the hardest thing of this moon, I really think, is the dreams that come from it, because you can kind of for a split second think that enough time has passed, or you can kind of for a split second think, wow, I could really make things better, or I could really fix things. But the problem is, again, we get into this imbalance between the heart and the mind. Perhaps through fixing things temporarily, it would cause more chaos to emerge in the future. So sometimes things being put out of their misery, or sometimes things not coming back together, can be the ultimate fixing and the ultimate good thing. Try to not convince yourself too much that these very quick, temporary, nice feelings or nice resolutions to old pain fix things permanently. Again, this can be a bit of a delusional thought. And it's kind of hard for me to channel this because I've gone through my own experience with this, and I've had like, it's like this energy is really, really prominent in my life, so prayers please. But I think the hardest thing is to know that people's intentions and hearts are in the right place, but due to certain interpretations, coping mechanisms, and inability to quite communicate what the heart wants, it really dissolves the intentions of the heart, which we have to remember how strong this makes us in the future, and we have to remember that, you know, everybody has their reasons for acting the way that they do. Everyone, you know, if they can't respond to you, if they can't be there, if they can't or don't want to reignite something, it's like they're probably not just doing it for fun. And you know, some of them may be. And if they are, then it's like, why do we need to fix it that hard in the first place? Really be soft with yourself and really don't regret so hard not being perfect. Because all you can do is like apologize or try to repent or try to do what you can. And if the other person won't accept it, there's really not much you can do. And I know that this energy is getting so specific about like relationships and close proximity and pain of the past. And it's just how it's coming through for me, because I think that that's been a lot of my own experience. But I've never been afraid to like talk abstractly about my experience, because that's always resonated with my viewers, and I think that everyone sees everything for a reason, so I hope that it's not seeming too much like a ramble or a tangent, but it's very hard to articulate this energy, so I'm just kind of like background speaking and hoping that it comes through, and hoping that it's helping to at least commune with everyone else who might be hurting a little bit during this time. It's important to realize how strong we are, because just to be able to reactivate the past, or just to be able to want to apologize, or to want to speak from the heart takes a lot of strength because we put ourselves on the line, we really put our vulnerability out there. And it's like, we also have to pick up the pieces if it doesn't go our way, which, if only people could understand how much stronger that makes us in the long run. It may not be easy, but my gosh, we're coming out of this blood moon with a lot of strength. It is conditioning, it's kind of like helping our psychic muscles to grow stronger through whatever experiences come in during this time. And overall, I'm wishing everyone a lot of luck. I'm looking through here to see if there's anything else that I needed to mention. Once in a lifetime opportunities can definitely come up just because, again, this isn't something that happens very often. It's been 150 years. So for a lot of people, that you can really get strange situations that work out to your benefit. You kind of have to be careful with it, though. Try to know what you're getting yourself into before you just commit, because you can overcommit with this energy too. It's like oaths and promises are emphasized, so beware of making a blood oath to something that you can't actually follow through on. Let's see, what else do I have here? Again, exclusion. Exclusion is such a key word with this moon from what I've channeled in. So, a lot of you have tried to extend an olive branch, or a lot of you have tried to make a peace union, I don't hold any grudges, I want you to know that things are okay. That's just what keeps coming up over and over and over again. People trying to rebuild the bridges, or trying to apologize for something, make closure. And it's not the most wonderful time, honestly, just because of how extremely supernatural this moon is. And be careful also for rituals, for those of you who are into the craft or into doing actual magic ritual. Be a little bit careful. Know what you're dealing with. Again, during blood moons specifically, a lot of entity can be out and about. In dark space, so try to not just be a vessel for it, unless I guess you really know what you're doing. It's not really my thing. But I remember a previous blood moon, actually, I guess I don't even remember, it must have been 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. I remember I was just getting into spirituality and esoteric stuff at that point in time, and I remember thinking, oh wow, a blood moon, and I was outside, and it was beautiful, and it was dark, and I'm like, whoa, this energy is strange. And it really, after that, is when a lot of my spiritual and sort of psychic gifts started to come in. So I do think that these types of energies can definitely catalyze a psychic expansion within you. So careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. Is definitely a big thing for this moon. But anyway, everyone, I don't really think that I have much more to say. All that I can say is it's a very phenomenal time. It's a very spotlight time. It's eccentric. Try to not be hard on yourself. Try to take things slowly and softly. We're not cutting vegetables too fast because we don't have time and we end up cutting off a finger. Try to not drive too fast, just easy does it during this time until it passes at about mid-February. And just really pay attention to the cycles that are starting and the commitments that you make. And one last message that feels like it needs to come out is I love you and I'm sorry. And thank you. Just those simple things are really, really spotlighted right now. Try to not make people read between the lines to communicate your love to them if you really care about them. I feel like that's a regret for a lot of people. It's I wish I would have just said that I loved you. Or I wish that I would have just not had to say something so harsh and so mean and so difficult. Regret, in hindsight, emphasized for sure, but shouldn't be for too long. Really try to create something wonderful. If you can get out of your head a little bit and, again, maybe not so many sharp knives, but for musicians, artists, painters, people who don't work with dangerous machinery, incredible time to create content and to be artistic. Although it can also be the type of content that doesn't really go much further than this, but through making it, you really cleanse a lot of karma and generate new experiences. And anything else? If you guys would like to comment, or subscribe, it would make my day. I really hope that this audio recording, as impromptu as it is, was helpful. I just thought wow, this is going to be a crazy experience. Let me go ahead and channel in what's happening. Again, check the description box. I feel like I've kind of missed something, so there will be another write-up there that I will think of in hindsight once I actually upload this. And other than that, I'm still available for one-on-one sessions, some in January. You guys can email me down below to book something. And I also have a Patreon page where you can get like ad-free access to my readings and you know, written horoscopes, bi-weekly stuff, contests, all sorts of fun stuff. If you guys would like to check that out, I would so appreciate it. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, and without further ado, I will be seeing you guys not too long till February readings, if I can hopefully get them out soon enough. Much love, and I will be talking to you guys soon. Good luck during this period of time. It's magic, it's beautiful, it's scary, it's wonderful, it's empowering. Bye, guys.